One brand on this list sold for $12,000 last year. Projected resale in 2026? Under $200. The collapse has already started, and if you own any of these 10, you're holding worthless paper. Michael Kors bags used to mean something. $300 at Nordstrom. Nice packaging. That little gold logo screaming, "I've made it." Now, you can grab one at TJ Maxx for $79, right next to the off-brand candles and those weird socks nobody asked for. Here's what killed them. The brand opened over 1,000 stores worldwide by 2017. 1,000. They flooded the market so badly that 40% of American women owned at least one MK product. When nearly half the country has your luxury bag, it's not luxury anymore. It's a uniform. And the stock market noticed. Capri Holdings, their parent company, watched their shares crater over 70% from the 2014 peak. Investors basically said, "Yeah, we're out." But the real gut punch? Resale value. A genuine Michael Kors bag holds maybe 15 to 25% of what you paid. Meanwhile, Hermes bags sell for more than retail. Some appreciate like real estate. MK depreciates like a rental car driven off a cliff. The company tried damage control, closed 125 stores between 2017 and 2020, pulled back, tried to seem exclusive again. Too late. Younger shoppers now see that MK logo and think mall brand. Not aspirational, not wealthy, just there, between Bath and Body Works and the food court. My cousin bought one in 2012 thinking it was an investment piece. She uses it to carry her gym shoes now. And honestly, Michael Kors got off easy compared to what happened to Coach. Coach tried something sneaky in 2017. They changed their corporate name to Tapestry Inc., as if slapping a fancy new label on the bottle would make people forget they're drinking the same wine. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. Here's the brutal truth. That signature C pattern plastered on everything during the 2000s? It became the universal symbol for, "I want to look rich, but I'm shopping at the outlet." Your mom had one. Your aunt had 3. Your dental hygienist had the matching wallet. And that's the kiss of death for any luxury brand. But the real problem runs deeper. Coach factory outlets now generate more revenue than their actual mainline stores. Let that sink in. The majority of Coach owners never paid full price. They paid $60 at the outlet, while feeling like they scored a designer deal. Resale values? About 20% of retail. You buy a $300 bag, it's worth $60 the moment you walk out. My blender holds value better than that. The company tried collaborations with edgy young designers. They launched streetwear collections. They hired influencers. Nothing moved the needle. Why? Because their core customer base is now in their 60s and 70s. And those customers don't want change. They want the same bag in a new color. Meanwhile, Gen Z treats visible logos like a contagious disease. Coach is stuck between an aging fan base that's dying off and younger shoppers who wouldn't touch that C pattern with a 10-foot selfie stick. A few months ago, I had no idea what a health ring even was until my fiancé got me one, and I have to say, I'm shocked this isn't a widely known and used product. It tracks my stress levels, and what I found out is that some supplements made my stress score spike, while others actually helped bring it down. I adjusted a few things based on that, and honestly, I feel 10 years younger. My wife mainly uses it to track her menstrual cycles, and she is obsessed with her sleep quality score. I noticed they are currently running a limited 69% discount, but I don't know how long it will last. It's currently only $60, and it's clear this one, is the best bang for your buck, with other health rings priced around $350 with less functions. They managed to price it this low because they cut out the middleman like Amazon, Walmart, etc., who drive up the price and take a big margin, ending up with the customer paying 3 to 5 times more. If you are on TV, you can check it out yourself by pausing the video and scanning the QR code with your phone camera or clicking the first link in the description of this video. Speaking of brands stuck in identity limbo, wait until you hear what Burberry did with $37 million worth of unsold merchandise. Here's something you don't see every day. A luxury brand admitting they messed up. Burberry's new CEO basically said, "Yeah, we raised prices for no good reason and lost customers." Those exact words? Unjustified. That's corporate speak for "we got greedy." But the real damage started decades ago. That iconic plaid pattern? It got counterfeited so heavily that British football hooligans made it their unofficial uniform. Your fancy trench coat suddenly looked like you were headed to start trouble at a Manchester United match. The brand's response in 2018? Burn $37 million worth of unsold inventory. Literally set it on fire rather than discount it. The environmental backlash was brutal, and honestly, pretty deserved. Stock dropped over 50% in 2024 alone. Analysts called it the worst-performing luxury stock in Europe. Not a participation trophy you want on your shelf. Those $2,000 trench coats that defined British sophistication? Now selling for under $400 on consignment sites. That's not depreciation. That's a fire sale. Pun intended. The real problem is positioning. Burberry's stuck in luxury purgatory. Too expensive for regular folks who just want a nice coat. Not exclusive enough for billionaires who want something their neighbors can't buy. It's like being the middle child of fashion. Nobody's paying attention. And the weird part is, Burberry has actual heritage. Real history. But heritage doesn't pay the bills when your stock chart looks like a ski slope. Speaking of losing altitude, wait until you see what happened to watches. Tag Heuer used to mean something. Back in the day, owning one said you'd made it. You weren't rich enough for Rolex, but you weren't wearing some department store garbage either. Now, watch collectors have a brutal saying. Tag Heuer is the watch you buy before you know any better. Ouch. Here's what went wrong. Tag positioned itself in that $1,500 to $5,000 sweet spot. Sounds smart, right? Entry-level luxury. A gateway drug to nicer watches. Well, that price range is getting murdered from both sides. Below, you've got Apple watches that actually do things. Above, you've got Rolex holding value like gold bars. Tag? Stuck in the middle like a sedan at a sports car show. And the mall kiosks didn't help. Nothing screams prestigious timepiece like a guy in a shiny suit chasing you through the airport duty-free. I've literally speed-walked past these booths pretending to take phone calls. The numbers are painful. Buy a tag today, and it loses 40 to 60% of its value the moment you walk out. Meanwhile, certain Rolex models appreciate. You could actually make money wearing a watch. Tag owners just subsidize someone else's discount. LVMH owns Tag Heuer. They also own Hublot and Zenith. Guess which brands are getting the marketing dollars? Not the one associated with my first real watch energy. But watches aren't even the wildest value collapse we're covering. Coming up, a brand that turned $30 resale prices into an art form. Kate Spade bags used to be everywhere. Every young professional woman in New York had one. The bright colors, the playful patterns, the little Spade logo. It was cute. It was fun. But here's the problem. Cute doesn't pay the bills anymore. The fashion world shifted hard toward minimalism. Clean lines, muted colors, no obvious branding. And Kate Spade? Still making polka dot totes like it's 2012. When Coach's parent company bought them for $2.4 billion in 2017, everyone thought it was a smart move. Instead, it was the beginning of the end. Cost-cutting kicked in immediately. Quality dropped. But prices? Those stayed right where they were. Now, here's a number that should make you wince. A $300 Kate Spade bag resells for $30 to $50. That's not depreciation. That's evaporation. And the brand is getting squeezed from both directions. Zara and H&M improved their quality so much that the gap between fast fashion and affordable luxury basically disappeared. Why pay Kate Spade prices for Kate Spade quality when you can get something similar for $60? Then came 2018. Founder Kate Spade passed away. And with her went the creative soul of the entire brand. The authentic connection to its origins. Gone. Sales dropped 25% recently. The company literally admitted they lost relevance with customers under 35. But at least Kate Spade is still trying to sell new products. Our next brand? They're watching their entire category get eaten alive by something that didn't exist 10 years ago. Fossil sold 14 million watches in 2014. By 2022, 6 million. That's not a decline. That's a company watching its business get eaten alive by a fruit. The Apple Watch didn't just compete with Fossil, it obliterated the entire category. Why buy a $200 Fossil when the same money gets you a device that tracks your heart, plays music, and actually tells you something useful? Here's where it gets messy. Fossil's stock went from $128 to under $5. That's a 96% collapse. I've seen garage sale items hold value better than that. And the licensing deals? Complete identity crisis. Fossil makes watches for Armani, for Michael Kors, for Diesel. So what exactly is a Fossil watch anymore? Nobody knows, including Fossil, apparently. Their smartwatch attempt was hilarious. Not in a good way. Reviewers called it the worst of both worlds. Bad technology with zero heritage. Like putting a lawnmower engine in a Ferrari body. Walk into any department store today, you'll find Fossil watches collecting dust at full price for months before hitting that inevitable 70% clearance rack. Everyone knows. Just wait. But the real killer? Fossil built everything around mall retail. Then mall foot traffic died. The fancy locations dropped them. Now they're stuck selling fashion watches with Swiss prices, according to every watch forum online. Speaking of loud designs that time forgot, there's a brand whose bold prints defined an entire decade. Problem is, that decade ended 30 years ago. Versace built an empire on being loud. Medusa heads, gold chains, Baroque prints that scream, "I have money, and I want you to know it." In the 90s, that worked. Everybody wanted to look rich. But here's the problem. Fashion flipped completely. Right now, the biggest trend is called quiet luxury. Think plain cashmere sweaters. No logos. Nothing flashy. Basically, rich people decided they don't want to look rich anymore. And Versace? They're still showing up to the party in a gold lame suit while everyone else wears beige. The numbers tell the story. When you try to resell Versace clothing, you're getting maybe 25 to 35% back. Meanwhile, Bottega Veneta, the poster child for quiet luxury, holds 45 to 55%. Then came 2018. Michael Kors' parent company bought Versace for $2.1 billion. The same company that ran Michael Kors into outlet mall purgatory. I don't know about you, But that's like hiring a chef who burned down 3 restaurants to run your kitchen. Donatella's still at the helm at 69. Love her or hate her, she is Versace. But what happens when she steps back? Nobody knows. And the brand hasn't helped itself. Outlets popped up. Department store discounts became routine. Wealthy buyers noticed. Why pay full price when everything hits sale eventually? Versace dressed an era that loved excess. This era loves restraint. Speaking of brands stuck in another decade, there's an American icon whose preppy dream turned into a markdown nightmare. Ralph Lauren is 85 years old. That's not a dig. It's just math. And when your entire brand identity lives inside one man's head, you've got a succession problem that no board meeting can fix. Here's the thing about that preppy Americana dream Ralph built. It worked beautifully when everyone wanted to look like they summered in the Hamptons. Now, younger buyers would rather look like they just left a warehouse rave in Berlin. The numbers tell a brutal story. His net worth dropped by $1 billion as the aesthetic shifted. The flagship Fifth Avenue Polo store closed after just 3 years. $350 million gone. That's not a stumble. That's a faceplant on Fifth Avenue in front of everyone. But the outlet situation is what really kills me. Over 50% of Ralph Lauren sales come from discount channels now. Think about that. You walk into a full-price store, pay $400 for a polo shirt, and the guy next to you at brunch got the same thing for $90 at the outlet. You're basically paying a tax for being impatient. The median customer age? North of 50. And when they tried attracting younger buyers through streetwear collabs, it felt like your uncle suddenly showing up to Thanksgiving in a Supreme hoodie. Technically correct, spiritually wrong. Those purple label suits that commanded $5,000 resale, now they're moving for $800 to $1,200. That's a 75% collapse. Speaking of red carpet collapses, there's a shoe brand that celebrities stopped calling. Jimmy Choo shoes walked the red carpet at every major awards show for 2 decades. Now, they're walking straight to the consignment rack. Here's what happened. Michael Kors's parent company bought Jimmy Choo in 2017 for $1.2 billion. And like clockwork, the brand started feeling less special. Funny how that keeps happening, right? But the real killer wasn't the acquisition. It's that celebrities stopped caring. See, Jimmy Choo built everything on those red carpet moments. Actresses would name-drop their Choos during interviews. Free marketing worth millions. Today's stars? They want to discover the next unknown designer. Wearing Jimmy Choo now feels about as cutting-edge as showing up in your mom's prom dress. The numbers are brutal. Shoes that retailed for $800 to $1,200? They're sitting on the real for $150 to $250. Some pairs don't sell for months. That's not a luxury brand. That's a really expensive garage sale. Then came the classic desperation move. Handbags, fragrances, men's shoes. Basically everything except what made people care in the first place. When you're famous for one thing and suddenly sell everything, you end up being known for nothing. And here's what really sealed the deal. Work-from-home culture. Turns out, nobody needs $900 stilettos for their home office. Who knew? Comfortable luxury sneakers ate their lunch while Jimmy Choo kept chasing galas that weren't happening anymore. Speaking of brands frozen in time, wait until you see our final pick. This one literally hasn't changed since 1947. Now we arrive at a brand that's basically been selling the same watch since your grandparents were dating. Movado's Museum Watch. 1 dot, clean dial. Revolutionary design. In 1947. Here's the problem. It's still the same watch, nearly 80 years later. That single dot was genuinely innovative when Truman was president. Now, it feels like a brand that ran out of ideas and just kept printing money on nostalgia. The stock tells the story. Dropped from $47 in 2018 to under $20 by 2024. Investors aren't exactly fighting over shares, but the resale numbers are truly painful. A watch that costs $500 to $1,500 at retail resells for $75 to $200. That's worse than most fashion watches that don't pretend to be Swiss luxury. And here's what really stings. Movado's licensing business, making watches for Hugo Boss, Lacoste, and Coach, actually generates more revenue than their own flagship brand. The company makes more money putting other people's names on watches than their own. Walk into any mid-tier department store or airport duty-free shop. There's Movado, right between the fragrance counter and the sunglasses kiosk. Real watch collectors call these tourist trap locations for a reason. The online watch community actively steers people away, calling Movado fashion watches with Swiss prices. When enthusiasts become your anti-marketing department, recovery gets complicated. Some designs are timeless. Others just stop keeping up with time.